Good morning, I hope you're well. Today we've heard three readings, one from Matthew chapter 15, the Psalm, number 133, and a reading from Romans chapter 11. I'm going to focus on the passage from Matthew, and I don't know about you, but I find this passage about the Canaanite woman very difficult to read. It doesn't sound like the Jesus I know. Where is the love and time and compassion? This isn't the Jesus I follow, is it? But yes, it is. This is Jesus. And according to the commentaries I've read, we are meant to feel uncomfortable and confused when we read this passage. So I guess that's a tick in the box already. As I've read and reread this passage, I decided to break it down into three sections, three areas for us to apply to our lives. The first is Jesus withdrew. At the very start of this reading, we hear that Jesus withdrew. There are two important things to know about this. The first is the thought that Jesus left Capernaum, where things had become unsafe. He had spoken strongly about purity and defilement when he was asked why he and the disciples weren't washing their hands as required. He had stirred up upset. This reminds us that it is important to withdraw, to remove ourselves from conflict which has no purpose, and also to rest when we need rest. I need reminding of this need to rest because if it's good enough for Jesus, then surely it's good enough for me. It is okay to rest. In fact, it's important to rest. And in fact, that's why I'm recording this a few weeks ahead of time, rather than being with you live today so you can hear it, because I'm taking time with the family to rest. The second important point about Jesus withdrawing in this way is that he had journeyed out of Israel, across the border into Tyre and Sidon, into a place of heathens where the Gentiles lived. Theologians debate whether Jesus actually crossed the border or just went close to it. But he clearly went close enough that this Canaanite woman, an enemy of Israel, a religious outsider, could visit with him. Jesus was going outside of Israel, showing the disciples as a foretelling of the Great Commission in Matthew 28, that they would go to all nations to baptize and teach. And this same message is taken up in the reading from Romans today, where Paul is reminding the church that Gentiles believe when many in Israel turn away. And then many in Israel believe when provoked by Gentile belief. Paul is clear that God saves people of all nations, thanks to the work of the Spirit in both the Jews and the Gentiles. So what does this tell us in 2020? Well, it tells us clearly that we should be feeding the poor, fighting injustice and bringing the peace of Jesus to all those we meet, no matter what their background. And that as well as sharing the love of God with those people, we should tell them about the love of Jesus and the blessings of God in the world. That might sound terrifying to you, but you do not need to fear. You don't need to be standing on the high street bellowing into a loudhailer to be sharing the love of God in the world. This can be as simple as offering to pray for someone in need, sharing that you're donating to a Christian charity or signing a petition against injustice. Or perhaps it's sharing your favourite hymn or being alongside people when they're in need. The second theme I want to pick up on is that Jesus wants us to keep in touch with him. Some commentators say that Jesus is testing the Canaanite woman and that he wants to test us. But there's something more to it than that. Is Jesus really testing her, or is he actually in conversation with her, wanting to understand what it is she needs and longing for more relationship with her? Jesus wants her to persist. He wants us to persist in relationship with him, in conversation with him, in prayer. And perhaps this is the best demonstration of what prayer can be. I like to talk about prayer as chatting to God. In fact, saying that, I'm reminded of a poem I wrote in early July after a bit of a Twitter discussion about prayer. Let me just read it. Pray however feels easy, exactly the same way you chat. Just be with God like you would a best friend. Let it all hang out. Sometimes it's comfortable silence. Sometimes it's a massive rant. Whatever you want to tell him, God's glad that's where you're at. So I wonder, how often do you let it all hang out with God? How honest are you in your conversations with God? Do you tell God what you really think? And if not, why not? He knows the truth of our hearts, we know that, but there is power in putting our thoughts and our fears and our worries and our concerns into prayer. And how about the wrestling with God and refusing to take no for an answer? The Canaanite woman did wrestle with Jesus. She refused to take no for an answer. I like a good rant about life, and I'm sure God rolls his eyes at my ranty prayers. But I don't recall ever telling God that he was wrong, or that he needed to change his mind, or that he needed to change his plan. Perhaps that's something to ponder on over the summer, a challenge about when we need to say to God, come on, come more, do more. The third theme, the final theme, is that Jesus heals. In this story, right at the end, the Canaanite woman has met with Jesus. She is from not a Jewish woman. She is from another area. She's a Gentile from another tribe. She comes, she's determined, she persists. And then Jesus provides the healing for her child, the healing that's needed. I have shared before, and I will share again, that I am so thankful for the healing blessings of God. I never really thought that God would or could heal me. I'm not sure I really believed it was possible in the 21st century. But I sit in front of you. Well, I sit on the screen. You get my point. I sit blessed with the healing power of God. I'm still sat in my wheelchair. I'm still almost entirely blind. I still live with chronic pain and fatigue, and I still have mental health challenges. But I am healed thanks to the work of God. I'm healed of the grief of disability. I'm healed of frustration at the challenges around. I'm healed of bitterness and regret of my situation. Of course, all those things crop up. Of course, I'm not perfect. But God has healed me in profound ways I never expected. And others may look at me, and indeed, they often do look at me and tell me that I need healing. But the truth is that I have been healed of the most negative impacts on my life. God took away the things which he knew needed healing in me. I wonder what God could heal in you. I wonder how we can each let God into our lives to continue healing us in ways he knows we need. And so I'm just going to leave you with this message to be more like this Canaanite woman. Never give up on the ability of God to heal you and heal those you love. Never stop praying for God's presence with you in situations of pain, of moments of confusion, in every aspect of our lives. Let's keep loving, let's keep praying, and let's keep trusting. Amen.